Alright, you guys, we're back for game 2 of eHug up against SNA. I'm Privatitude here. I've got my normal co-caster Ever joining me for today, but I do have to say a huge shout out to Rarsum for helping me with that cast. I get like super anxiety if I have to solo cast, so I was like freaking out. I was like, Rarsum, please help be my co-caster. And I love casting with him. Great guy, very knowledgeable. But it's nice to have you back, Ever.
Or they could have waited 5 minutes for me.
All right, I know, but you know,
It was 5 minutes. Come on, guys. Come on.
you just gotta
And to
be
be
like,
precise,
you
but
just
I'm
gotta
just
be
gonna
like,
call it
work,
five.
work. I gotta go cast. You know, I'm out of here. You guys can close up by
Doesn't
yourself.
work like that when you have people
Radiant
calling
team
in and
back.
you have to pick up their weight.
I
It's,
know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a guilt train today. Anyways, game one was interesting. I have to say that I expected like SNA to just take it outright,
Dire
and
team pick.
based on the fact that they sacrificed themselves over that Rax, and
Radiant
eHug was
team
able to
pick.
just say, all right, we'll trade for kills and see what we can make up in the end. I'm shocked it worked. I'm shocked Naga was a big enough carry to make it work, because there were some huge ultimates that could easily have closed out that game for SNA. So going into this game, we actually see Ember make it through the pool and Shadow Shaman get banned. Was that banned game one? I don't recall at all.
I'm not sure. I honestly don't remember. He might have been.
10 seconds.
I strongly feel like he wasn't.
Maybe
Either way,
later on,
Naga
at
doesn't
least.
make it through, but
5
Ember, who's a
seconds
huge
remaining.
carry element, makes it through. eHug snatches it up immediately, and I don't blame him. One of the hardest carries in the game can either be played out of the mid lane or even in the carry role, depending on where you want to place him. Flame Guard is extremely underrated, in my opinion, and a lot of people have been talking about it as of late. He doesn't have that survivability except for in his searing chains early on, but the fire remnant that he can leap away to makes him nigh
Radiant team
unkillable,
pick.
as well as going immune with things like sleight of fist. There's so many things that he can do right and deal so much damage in a short span of time that he makes for a very scary carry. And SNA, as a result, pick up Rubik in response with one additional to go. And it's going to be AA. Interesting. So AA makes it through, and they pick up both support roles immediately, and that's kind of reminiscent of some older styles of drafting that end up going for very strong heroes, but the support system first. And Visage, even though he's still in the pool, they opt out of going for him, which might just be a sign that he's not a great matchup for Ember, but that doesn't account for the other four on the team. What do you think of that?
Well, I like the lockdown that you see out of Rubik and AA. On top of that, it doesn't really give a lot of insight to what their draft is. When you see Ember Spirit come out from Team eHug, he's a powerful hero, and you kind of know what you have to go into to counter against that. So someone that maybe can silence, and a lot of forms of lockdown to be able to prevent him from getting away. So I feel like the Rubik AA were decent picks when you see that Ember Spirit come out first. They are good against them, first of all. You do have some lockdown on that Rubik. But I don't know. I don't think Visage is such a great hero against Ember Spirit. I don't think it would have been a great pickup for SNA this time.
Radiant
I don't
team
think you
back.
can base that off of one hero, though. Yes, it's their carry, but you also have four other heroes. You shouldn't base it solely off of one incredibly powerful hero. I think he's great utility all around. He's up to 3 stuns when you grab an
10
Ags.
seconds
It's
remaining.
interesting. Darkseer should be the presumed off lane for eHug,
5
and
seconds
we'll see what
remaining.
he can do, as he can go jungle if need be and get some experience there.
Reserve time.
Seeing how the offlane shapes up, still need a carry out. So the 4 and 5 role taken up for SNA, the mid lane as well as the offlane taken up for eHug. Either team still needing a true carry element that will play out of their safe lane if they go a more traditional role with Mirana, Batrider, Dazzle, and one additional ban coming in the second round. And I have to say as well, I'm kind of surprised by the Batrider ban at this stage, and maybe it signals that eHug has an idea of what they want to go for in terms of their mid role to play against Ember Spirit. I'm not too sure though how well Bat actually plays against Ember.
I think it's decent enough. I mean, Lasso in general is a really decent lockdown. And if you can lock him down with that Lasso, on top of that, you're going to have the Chilling Touch from AA. So just that lockdown period enough. Ember Spirit is not that tanky of a hero. So if you Lasso him, I think you'll have enough right-click damage with the Chilling Touch from, 2 or 3 heroes to be able to kill Ember. I think that would be enough. And eHug already has their offlane, presumably, in that Darkseer. So they didn't need that Batrider either. So I think it was a decent ban out on their part. Weaver Ember is also banned out here, a very decent core hero that eHug could have picked up to go with that Ember Spirit, so they do ban him out as well. I like the Mirana ban out from eHug on top of that. Another good lockdown hero, but also gives options for SNA to back out a fight. So we saw last time the Mirana ult did quite a bit of work for Team eHug last time.
Yeah, I mean, teamwork was definitely impeccable, I think, on both sides. I think it was just a matter of happenstance that SNA just didn't have a few fights go their way. They were a little bit too grouped up on that one of the final mid-team fights that really pushed the ball back into eHug's court to have a counteroffensive, and they didn't capitalize on a barracks at that stage. But the fact that they were able to just Naga ult 4 heroes side by side speaks volumes of what both of these squads are capable of. eHug is nothing to scoff at. They are a perfect 10-0, even though they dropped the last 2 matches between the squads. You have to take into account in this tournament, they are the alpha, and SNA are 7-3 out of the 10 matches in which they've played. So these two teams squaring off have some blood to settle. eHug looking to maintain that top seed, going into even week 8. They're going to want to take that #1 slot to have an easier road for the finals. No one wants to be sent to the losers bracket once we hit playoff time, which is only 2 weeks away, I believe, after this week. Is that correct? Oh, no, sorry. This is the beginning of week 7, so I suppose 2 weeks starting today.
Yeah, and then there is a week cooldown as well. So I think 3 weeks technically before the actual playoffs.
I was discussing settling the standings. I mean,
okay.
I don't want to see eHug get knocked off at this stage. It would be very hard. I think there's only like 4 teams who would have to just go a perfect 2-0, and eHug would have to drop both. If they were going to drop both, I have to say SNA would be one of the ones that would definitely attribute them a loss, if anyone's. We'll see if they can push them to a game 3 as they pick up Nyx Assassin. I'm going to take a guess and say he's in the off lane, regardless of what we do here, and they're going to need to pick up a mid and a carry, and that mid is going to be Storm Spirit, so Spirit Brothers going to be facing against one another. The Jakiro pickup should then be I want to say a 5 role. He's kind of a hard support, but we'll see how eHug wants to play it. Nothing surprises me much anymore, and a very aggressive pickup coming out of them for their safe lane in a Slaughter. They know they don't exactly need a traditional hard carry in someone like a Morphling or an Anti-Mage. The Slardar pickup allows them to really get in there in terms of damage by minusing armor. Very aggressive pickup early on. If he grabs a blink, he can essentially blink and sprint for free, and there's almost no way he misses that stun. Very exciting pick.
On top of that, minusing the armor for Ember Spirit to do more damage with his Sleight of Fist too. And they're such great early and mid-game heroes too that eHug should just be very, very strong at that point in the game. And Jakiro is a rather tankier support as well, so it's not a great target for Nyx Assassin if Jakiro can get just a little bit more tankier on his end. I think Nyx is going to have a little bit more tankier on his end.
A little bit more tanky?
No,
maybe?
Tankier. He's already tanky. He needs to be more tankier.
Interesting. Both Bane and Lifestealer banned. I like the Bane ban. They knew that they needed another support. This just signals that Lifestealer couldn't be that hard carry. So eHug definitely doing their homework and paying attention. SNA trying to maybe slip one by eHug late in the draft, but eHug even had plenty of reserve time to fall back on. Their safe lane carry going to be in Faceless Void as they wrap out their lineup, and they have a lot of farm to get taken care of. I'm actually worried because if this Darkseer does well enough in this off lane, which I think he can arguably against Rubik and AA, you're talking about a decent time on Mechanism to go off, Void not being able to get that much farm as a melee carry, and Slardar and Ember just reaping the benefits of early team fights. They're going to be nigh unkillable on dives even if Darkseer can even remotely come close to maybe even a 9 or 10 minute mech, not even like a 6 minute as if he was out of control. That's concerning, at least from my perspective.
I agree. I don't know how well this Faceless Void is going to fare up, too. I think the mid-game is so strong from eHug, and they have enough lockdown, too, on top of that, that if they catch Void out in a lane, I think they can potentially easily kill him off. So we'll see what this last pickup is for eHug. Definitely another support incoming from them. but it looks scary. The good thing about SNA's lineup, though, is that they do have quite a few ways to deal with that Ember Spirit. The lockdown from Voids, Chrono Spear is great. Storm Spirit will also most likely pick up an Orchid to deal with Ember Spirit, so definitely items to keep an eye out on them. Waiting for this last pickup for eHug. What do you think it's going to be?
Last pickup for eHug has to just be a support, so I don't think it matters, honestly.
I think Venomancer would be a good one. It's good damage.
I don't know. I think it needs to be some single target. I'm fine if we see anything from a CM to even a Shadow Demon here. And it's Visage. All right.
That works.
We mentioned Visage earlier on. And maybe not so great against Ember Spirit, but definitely against someone like Faceless Void. I imagine he's extremely useful, can save himself potentially from someone like Storm Spirit. So we'll see how this goes as we get underway with Game 2. eHug being up 1-0. We'll get down into some introductions as both sides square off and pick up their heroes in a matter of moments here. I always hate this part. The animations and everything glitch up for a lot of the people who had beta installed. I don't know what it is. I even reinstalled post-beta and it still seems to only be the beta players with this like crazy weird bug where people select heroes and we just lag.
It's not, I don't think it's happening to me. I didn't notice it on the other pickups.
I don't know. It always happens to me literally ever since I downloaded the game, and I thought it would get polished over time, but it hasn't. And I mean, you know, I even got a new computer in between there, and this thing's kind of out of control. It's definitely not my hardware. Anyways, oh well. You know,
definitely not.
Yeah. For SNA, Sneaky Nyx Assassins, IX Mike on the Nyx Assassin himself. USH Dota on Faceless Void, hard carry supported by Fluff and Stuff on the Rubik. SNA Dota on mid Storm Spirit with GSX supporting AA to that Void. Should be bot lane, but all of them are grouped up going towards the dire jungle as Prove announces eHug, and we might even yet see a skirmish.
Yeah, I gotta be quick here. They might catch him out. So on eHug's side, they're on the Dire. We have Pandago on that support, Jakiro. Justin will be on the Ember Spirit. Played a really great Naga Siren last game. Sheep Sucks will be on this Visage. Top here, Jigglebilly on the Slardar. And bottom lane, all by himself, is going to be Cakes once again, playing that Darkseer. SNA sneaking around, doesn't catch anybody out on their first attempt, so it looks like they're just going to head to their lanes now. Can't really waste any more time.
All right, well, let's see how this pans out. I really think that this is SNA's game to lose, unfortunately. I don't see a way around any of their lanes going poorly. Do you? They have a Slardar. They have two very good support heroes for that particular Slardar. Ember should be just fine one-on-one against Storm mid. That's maybe the most concerning matchup, but regardless, we've seen Embers come back way late, and Darkseer has a distinct advantage, at least, of getting these Ion Shells behind his tower, which causes a horrible situation for USH on this Faceless Void. He can't exactly go rewinding Ion Shell, and it's going to be a lot up to that support system to see how this lane pans out, as Fluff is roaming over on the mid lane. They do have an obs to spot it out, thankfully so nothing will come of it as he rotates around. And hopefully Justin notices as he backs off to his tower, and does indeed. SNA taking a very aggressive posture on his farm, and maybe needs to make sure that we don't get things rolling. The downside I was going to mention about bottom is the fact that Cakes won't be able to necessarily stay in lane so long if Rubik's there to kind of line up a cold feet, but because that lift and telekinesis isn't there from Fluff, they're not going to be able to really lock Cakes down once he hits level 2 and grabs Surge.
Yeah, unless you just see like a lucky bash or something once he gets a few levels, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Ion Shell is going to be slightly problematic for USH, but that's all. That's all he really has to deal with is that. Other than that, he should be getting some last hits. And Cakes knows that Rubik's on the top lane, so he does sneak in for some creep kills and some experience on top of that. I think the laning phase might be a little rough for eHug, but once we see the Blink Dagger on Slar and once Justin gets some items on top of that, I think they'll be fine. I feel like maybe the first 10 to 12 minutes might be a little rough for them, but after that, I feel like they should be quite all right. Sardar and Ember and the supports that they have, I feel like they're just going to wreck in this early and mid game. And if USH can't get going fast enough, it could be very, very difficult for him to have the opportunity to catch up once, you know, the Ember and Sardar start rolling.
see exactly what happens here with Ember. I don't know. I don't think he's going to have a great time. All he has to do is get level 0. Once he gets Remnant, he can go toe-to-toe just fine with the Storm. Even if Storm has an early level 6, he's easy to lock down with something like that Shackle and actually deal a lot of damage to. Mike going one-on-one with Pandego right now, gets slowed up. We'll see if they can lock him down. There's the sprint waiting out on that stun. Carapace comes and he's just body blocking. This should be first blood. Finally follows up the stun. No soul assumption out of Visage. Is it enough? Still a great body block there. The stun doesn't connect, but under the guise of the tower, Mike slips away narrowly and almost actually turns the kill around on Jiggle, who is forced to rotate Regs out from Pandego just to keep him in lane.
If that had been Soul Assumption level 1 instead of Grave Chill, do you think that would have gotten them the kill? I mean, they would have been missing the slow, but the body blocks were huge.
Get Grave Chill.
Right,
early
right.
on in the game, the reason why you just have to, like, I still don't think it would have been a kill.
But there's damage lacking. And with that Soul Assumption, they might have had it.
No, because you have to understand that Soul Assumption level 1 versus the right clicks that Visage probably put out in that fight were just absurd. The right clicks are where the damage comes from, not a Soul Assumption. Soul Assumption on paper, I would have to say there, I don't think the damage would have panned out, or it would have been very similar even if it did. So probably the same result, but it allowed them the opportunity to body block Mike quite well. But he knew he was well within his rights, which is what surprises me, at least from a casting perspective, to be there and actually trade those hits with Pandego. I'm surprised he was willing to sacrifice that much in terms of his regen, but even still, he knew he wouldn't die, which is even weirder. Yeah,
it is really weird. He's sitting at only 568 HP, so I felt like they would have had that kill, but unfortunately the damage output was just not there for them. But Pandego doing a great job making sure that these pulls do not come through from IX Mike, and he's still trying. And all you have to do in this situation for Pandego is attack IX Mike, and the neutral creeps will actually aggro onto your hero. So all you have to do, and Pandego is doing just that, so making sure that the pulls do not come through. And Jacob Billy is just going to sit here and keep on farming up. He's doing quite well for himself, sitting at 19. But IX Mike is in no bad situation himself either. He's getting the experience that he still needs. And honestly, that's all you need to get going on a Nyx. After that, the rotations are in your hand. Meanwhile, mid lane, Justin has a fluff and stuff here. Invis on his hero, so they might be able to have a go. Telekinesis up in the air. Storm Spirit rather, only level 5 though, so no chase can come out of this, and takes a lot of right click damage. Can Justin get a Sleight of Fist off to kill Storm Spirit? And he actually cannot. It's on cooldown at this point. Very, very close. That tower hits early on are brutal in terms of damage. SNA goes back in again though, almost gets picked off, and he does. First blood goes to Justin. Meanwhile, top lane, IX Mike might be in some trouble here, but nope, nobody can get there fast enough. Oh, Cakes is there, though. Maybe they can get there. If he can search somebody forward to deal something, and they do, they search the Visage forward, but they do opt to back out of that. Just wasting too many resources.
Meanwhile, over in mid, Justin crowed a bottle. If Fluff stays here, he might be able to lock him down, but I think Fluff recognizes that. Such composure and experience coming out of both of these internationally seasoned players. It's always great to watch them play and watch movement. I think movement is one of the most important, if not the most important facet of this entire game. Storm, SNA, about to ding level 6 here, and will after that creep wave. So he picks up his ultimate and will be able to go toe-to-toe with Justin. Justin throwing a remnant back to make sure he doesn't get caught out as Fluff plants an obs of his own. This obs on the dire side for eHug about to expire and allow Fluff to potentially rotate up and behind Justin. He should know there is an obs there since the beginning of the game, to be quite fair. And we knew the trade between Justin and even SNA was going to come down with those shackles. Look at how much damage he can put out, and he can't do anything again. Manages to kill him, finishing him off with Sleight of Fist. Very impressive play, and the courier returns right in time. He's going to be able to bottle crow yet again and stay in lane for this farm. 2 kills deep. He's 24 for 2 with SNA at 31 and 5, but those 2 deaths will be instrumental for him starting to avalanche here. Mike now tested behind the tower. Carapace very patiently baited here, and Jiggle also waiting to pop stun. Port rotation out of SNA though will spell trouble here as Storm comes back. SNA able to take him out on that Storm Spirit and secure a kill. So Jakiro goes down right on top of the tower attaining the last hit. So assist gold is just split between 3, but I don't think that situation can pan out better for them unless Storm comes out as the sole benefactor.
Justin got some creep kills in the mid lane in the meantime, but now that SNA is at least level 6, hopefully he doesn't get picked off here, but just the Sleight of Fist is dealing so much damage to SNA anytime he comes back to this lane. So Justin has had a great time in this mid lane so far, and even though he's always had that present threat of Fluff and stuff just sneaking up on him, he still managed to stay in the lane just fine. And now Ix Mike and Fluff, they're on the hunt for somebody, but Ix Mike not yet level 6, so not quite the possibility for getting a kill, especially with Jiggle Billy up here. Has mana as well on top of that for a stomp, and really securing these hits here, going for that Blink Dagger. It actually has enough for it too, so we'll see if he just finishes the treads first and then picks up that Blink Dagger, 1 minute after that.
Man, you just want me to talk infinitely tonight. I got this feeling.
I felt that you had a lot of pent up talking in you since you sat out on the first game. You're probably just in the chat. Yeah, I figured you were just I'm sure Twitch chat was like, oh my gosh, we have to deal with Ever now and then we have to listen to him later.
Initiation here on Mike. Mike not going to be able to do anything for quite a while. There's the Carapace. Doesn't even stun out. Patiently waiting was Jiggle Billy, and finally they attain a kill on that ever so sneaky Nyx assassin. So Mike goes down, and that was a really silly pun, but I stuck it in there so well. Justin, in the meantime, was jumped on mid, able to live, rotating out the wand, and ports back to base. He will refill his bottle and get back engaged. So Fluff still trying to get this Storm Spirit into the game at all costs, who is trying to farm at least Treads and Midas, but has had no such luck as AA picks up a haster, excuse me, Visage picks up Haster, and AA pinged it out, but they weren't able to attain it. How did he ping it out? Where was his vision? He must have been on the cliff. Sorry, I didn't see that. So much going on all around the map.
Yeah, I wasn't too sure either. I'm actually turning up in-game sound, and I turned up you just a little bit as well. It seems like both were slightly low. So chat, just let me know if that's a little bit better, and if not, I can adjust it for you. Yeah. 3-1 lead so far for eHug, so definitely doing better earlier on this game than they did last game. Ix Mike, though, caught out on the river. He's dead here. There's no way out for him, especially not level 6 yet, so can't even opt out with an invis. So he goes down. Justin, the benefactor of that, and he's just had a great game, and I think this is really scary for SNA. Bottom lane, though, big dives coming out of Visage. The familiars get away, but he does not. He gets the kill on Rubik, though. Isn't this scary for Slardar? Not for Slardar and Rubik, but Slardar and Ember. They have had such a good game so far, and I don't know. Void's holding up. Just
did you see this? Sorry, I know you were going on about Slardar and Rubik, but he accidentally used his stone form on the full health familiar and was like, oh, that wasn't the one that was at 10. So yeah,
it happens.
I know, it doesn't matter.
Hard to click.
It's such a short cooldown, it really doesn't matter. But I just like noticing silly things like that. Anyways, yeah, back to Slardar Rubik. What's up?
Yeah, I'm just saying they've had such a good early game. And I know Void's done pretty decent farming on this bottom lane, but Ember and Slardar have came into this game so early that I don't know if Void is going to be able to deal with that. I don't know if he can do that.
He's gonna have to do something here. So Shackle actually goes on to creeps, does not connect. SNA counters right now. Storm has a hold of Justin. Mike is there to try and make something happen as the ice path goes out, but no one goes in. Void is here though, ported through. Good bash proc, needs maybe one more. Otherwise Justin will not die, and he does not die. Sleight of Fist.
Clutch one.
Huge turnaround right there as Mike goes invis with Vendetta, but it doesn't matter. They have a sentry up, and Sleight of Fist again taking away at the HP of Storm Spirit, who does have 2 bottle charges, but Mike not able to do much else, helplessly sits there as Void looked like he would have had a sure thing had one additional RNG proc come from the damage on that stun, but did not. As a result, it gets turned. Again, Storm right on top of Justin. Justin knows he's gonna go down, turns a kill before he dies, gets the experience, and finally goes down. He does manage to give away 600 gold, but the experience is invaluable at this stage as this Ember is playing out of control. The difference in gold earned headed towards the 2K marker as eHug finally sustains a lead, but the experience is something to be concerned about. Only 11 minutes into the game over that 4,000 marker.
It's definitely a concern. I do like how Justin just kind of manned up. He knew he was dying from that AA blast, which was very well timed, getting shot from pretty far away, so it was quite a big AoE, but he takes down SNA, and SNA, he's not a factor at this point in the game. He's trying to gear towards that Orchid, but he's far off from it just because he's gotten picked off 3 times and he's only sitting at 53 CS. And now Cakes is in some trouble. AA Blast goes down as IX Mike pops out of Vendetta and secures the kill for him on top of that. Really great play coming out of them, getting some kills as they can, but at this point they haven't been able to deal with that Ember too much other than that snipe from the AA Blast in mid, but he's still at it. He has his phase boots. Did he have something coming on the career? No. Okay, so it's just the phase boots still at this point, and the drums on top of that. But $500 in the bank. We do see Jiggle Billy sneaking around in the back, trying to pick somebody off. Might run into AA. Does actually run into AA. Can he get this kill all by himself, though? We need to see a reinforcement come in. Not with SNA there. This is going to start to get iffy for Jiggle Billy, but Ember's there to secure the kill. They had a lot of heroes nearby, actually. I didn't notice that.
You say. Iffy. They got like an obs here. They know what's going on both sides of the fence. They knew SNA was coming, but they didn't even need it. Sleight of fist enough to take him down. Drums this early on. His farm is spinning out of control, and he's actually going for some very mid-game paced items. Ring of the Aquila picked up, and he should sell the Stout Shield to maintain that so he can hold a port, but he even has a wand, so he's a very tough hero to take down all the way through the mid and may yet be able to pick up a Battlefield. Meanwhile, top lane, Cakes actually caught out Mike and company right on top of him, so SNA picks up a kill for themselves. Meanwhile, you see Visage bottom lane going on too, managing to pick off the Faceless, oh sorry, excuse me, I was going to say Faceless Void, it's a Rubik. He picked off, and maybe an AA as he tries to get in there, but AA has just enough to get away and maybe cast one additional slow. As a result though, they lose a total of 2 towers. D9 coming out of Storm Spirit.
He's got some rotations coming, trying to kind of do his part in this game, so the deny was a great part. I think they need to start protecting that Faceless Void a little better, though. With Jiggle Billy having that Blink Dagger, he's going to be rotating. He's not going to be in a lane farming at this point. He's going to be trying to set some kills up for his team, and the best target at this point to go for is going to be USH because Storm Spirit has already gotten shut down, and he's a harder hero to kill than this Void at this point in the game. So definitely having their sights set on Void. He's down here all alone, and I think we need to see some TPs come on through because the Dire are just converging on his location, and it's going to be very scary for him down here. He isn't even available. His ultimate isn't even available, rather. And he has 4 heroes down here. And with Ember,
I don't think they know he's there, to be fair.
But sometimes
I really
people
don't.
check. You know, they get the tower, and then they just check in the woods. So that's
sure,
always
but
a possibility.
They're spotting out right here. You see this obs. They have no idea Mike is like right on top of both of them, but instead they will jump on Fluff. Mike stunning too, able to keep things off. Justin might just go down here, and this is going to be a big loss for them. Remnant, sleight of fist, takes one down with him. Fluff down, Remnant away again. Not enough to sneak out as they trade an Ember for a Rubik. Good exchange there for SNA, but they will lose their tower if this cutthroat Dota continues from eHug, trying to take the lane down from behind. Creeps moving forward, Familiars laying siege. No fortification at the ready just yet. About 15 seconds to go, is it? Yeah, under 10. So it will go down regardless of what they do, and it was a decent rotation over. Good play from Mike to stun both Justin as well as the additional slaughter that was roaming down there, and just got things done as Jiggle is still hiding away in the trees.
Yeah, Alex Mike's spotting that out was definitely a game changer. If Faceless Void had dove on, I mean, granted he might have been able to hide in the woods and then time walk away, so that was definitely a possibility for him if he did get spotted out in the woods. So I don't know if it was still a secured kill for eHug or not, but definitely great plays out of IX Mike, and that's kind of what you get when you have that Nyx getting the solo experience, and he's not technically a support in a tri-lane or a dual lane. He gets that level 6 fast, and he's actually level 9 now, and that gives him so many options for rotating and trying to get the map control on their way. And if you can spot out an Ember or a Slardar going to gank a lane, then that just speaks wonders for how well you
Like
can
right
turn
now.
around a fight. Yeah, exactly.
No, you know what? It does take an immense amount of skill to land that Impale ability now that it doesn't allow you to target whatsoever. So you have to essentially pick your line of play, and if it's not a good one, you will miss people on the Impale, and therefore it could lead to the loss of a team fight. Ember shackling down too. Mike not able to do anything. He's looking to line up that Impale. Remnant again forward. Will manage to catch Fluff. Mike's in a lot of trouble. Stun from Jiggle down below. He blinks in. Cold Feet also going to get taken off. He's sprinting forward, and now AA is going to get caught out by the second stun. The crush about to come down. There it is. GSX goes down as they take out 3-0 against SNA. eHug on a tear, 14-7, and we knew their heroes were capable of this much play early on, but I did not think we would be sitting 7 kills up for eHug just 17 minutes into the game here.
Yeah, I just don't think SNA can really make things happen at this point. We need to definitely see the Orchid come up for Storm Spirit, so they have some form of lockdown that is going to definitely secure an Ember kill. But right now at SNA, he's trying to farm that up. Faceless can't really do too much. He's very squishy, doesn't have very much damage on top of that at all. And then he has to have his Chronosphere available too. He does, the silver lining though, is that he does have a Hand of Midas. So that is going to help him out a little later on in the game. But they have to survive till that point in the game. And so far, it's getting very scary to be anywhere on the map at this point for SNA with all these rotations that are coming down from really all of the heroes. On eHug's side, they have no reason to really let this game go for too long. If they can keep the pressure up on SNA, then they'll be doing great. And despite not having great heroes at pushing down towers, they have managed to take down all the tier 1 towers at 18 minutes into this game. So they are making things happen. When they get these kills, they take the towers, and that's definitely what they need to be doing. They're sitting 14-7 at this point too. So a great lead on their part, 7k gold advantage overall, and the XP also sitting at about 8k. So they're definitely winning on all facets of this game.
But they have to, in my opinion. You have an 8-for-2 Justin on this Ember Spirit who is absolutely snowballing out of control, but at the same time, they do have a timer to get this game completed by. Doesn't matter if Storm Spirit was even 0-for-3. The fact that he's 2-for-3 and can take this late is something that eHug needs to keep in mind. They have an 0-for-2 Void. His net worth is rather inflated, and taking a look over at net worth, since we haven't really had a chance to talk about it, you have Void sitting at about 7.5k with Ember at just 7.7. There is some inflation with that Midas, but you have to remember, Justin doesn't have the most powerful items, but he will find this Void out right now, and man, Spidey senses tingling or something. He leaps forward.
Or he wanted to farm faster. I'm not sure.
Potentially, but you have Ember about to walk right on a sentry, and he does. They figure out he's there, forces him to back off, but man, Justin could have just made that an ugly situation. The builds that they're going to are more catered towards this late game. You're seeing attack speed out of Void, which basically means he's gearing up to have that ult last as long as he can and get as many attacks off in that short little space of time that he's allotted, as well as deal a fair amount of AoE. BKB potentially coming out for him in that Ogre Club as Justin rotates over to mid, takes one down still. Mike not able to do anything. He might have Fluff there. Look at the damage from those chains, but Remnant was actually stolen, which I did not see, which allows him to get away with just 70 HP. Maybe he thought he had it. Meanwhile, Void, frozen up, goes down to some additional dots as Jakiro burning, and really, this team hurts on the damage over time they can put out against heroes who are just under farm and under the experience threshold that eHug is pushing on forward. But even with a BKB, where does a Void go in that situation? You BKB against an Ice Path. If you don't see it coming in time, you're in trouble. And if you don't go, you burn a BKB charge just for the sake of living and hopefully pushing the game longer. But it opens the door for you to lose a tower in the meantime that you may not yet be able to defend. So Ember picks up double damage. We'll see his item progression kind of come forward here. It is actually looking to be a Desolator instead of something like a Battle Fury, so still going a very mid-range build, which I have to admire. He's playing it to a T and out of control. It doesn't need to always be the Daedalus Battle Fury build to be effective, but Desolator getting as many shots in against these weak heroes just is going to spell SNA's demise if they can manage to get a good initiation. And what can an AA do as he throws an ult in against SNA jumping in? Storm just gonna go down here in the middle of all of this, and Roche still going to die due to that amp damage. Mike trying to make something happen as well as faces Void. Manages to take down Pandago. Doesn't matter. Roshan teetering on the brink of death, and still no one able to finish off. Ember able to take down Void as well as Roshan in a second here. Mike, good stun. Does he steal it? He does. Mike gets it, goes down, will come back up with the Aegis, but what does this all mean, Prue?
Well, so they lost the Darkseer. Jakiro buys back. Mike steals the Aegis, uses the Aegis, and dies. So still a win for eHug by all means as they take out Fluff on top of that. And now they can actually maybe push down a tower or two. So I don't know. I think Storm went in a little too early. He used half of his mana. He did have mana to do stuff still, but he went in too early, and potentially trying to steal the Aegis was what he was going for, but it made it so that he was completely irrelevant in that fight, and his team really needed him there. I gotta say though, Faceless Void will pick up this BKB, but against eHug's team, there's still gonna be plenty of ways to deal with him. You have the Sleight of Fist.
What does it do?
Yeah, you have the Sleight of Fist that's going to go through it. You have the stun damage from Slardar, and then the bash that can actually go through it as well, just from, you know, attacking. And then there's the right-click damage is on top of all that. Amp can go through BKB too, so it's still just a lot of damage that Void's going to be taking.
In actually on two right now as you're mentioning this. He doesn't have an ultimate. AA ult connects only on one, which is Cakes. Cakes looks like he's going to go down, but his team is able to pull it out and save him. 2 down for SNA, and they continue. 3 down. Mike next on the list, running for his life. Good soul assumption through. Can they finish off? Justin looking for that kill. Impale up. Second soul assumption awards a triple kill to I'm a Sheep, and he is just doing work. Buyback out of Void. Right on top. Can Justin taken down yet again? Needs to hold him still. Jiggle does it for him, and there we go. Damage forthcoming. Goes down. Unstoppable streak for Justin, and this looks all but over as eHug may yet keep their unbeaten streak in CEVO. They are 10-0. If they win this and close out the series at 2-0, they will go undefeated for 11-0 all the way through week 7.
And they've gotten through kind of a brick wall that they've been having with SNA too. They had such a hard time beating them the past few weeks, and they look to be able to take this 2-0 with a very patient turtling game last game, this game being super aggressive, and I just like their draft. I think it was riskier in the later game, but they're strong enough in the mid part of the game that they didn't allow SNA or this Faceless Void any farm whatsoever. So as a result, as we see the net worth, Void's sitting at 8k, you even have the Visage that's ahead of him, and Ember is just ripping it up with 10k. So really, really tough game. I would have liked to see maybe an earlier
Ember
fighting.
in a little bit of trouble. Rotation coming down right on top. They actually turned a counter here. Silenced up is Jiggle Billy. Not able to lock down the Storm yet. AAO going to take out Jiggle if he didn't have the BKB active. He won't be able to regen health, but he's not going to die from this. From the look of things, it will expire in time, and he's not even a high enough level to make an impact. At minimum, they were able to cut their losses shy there as Storm wiggles his way out, and he was the center of focus as I believe it was Rubik who was also joining him, able to wiggle away. Was it Rubik?
Not sure. Jiggle
It
Billy.
was either Rubik or Mike, and Mike is actually tracking up Visage right now. I didn't keep track on that. I just saw SNA get popped out as you were talking about Ember. I was watching him farm. I'm a Sheep in a little bit of trouble. And right now, ults expect for this. Can they follow up either side? They are going to be able to kill him. Who's going to get the last hit here? Goes to AA as that shadow combination lands. Cakes manning up against 3. All he has is familiars there to back him up. And I don't think the other team realizes it. He's just biding time as you now finally have Jiggle and company joining on in. Can Justin do enough damage to take him down? Sleight of Fist right now against the Void. Forces him out. Mike still in there taking him down left and right. You have Jakiro down as well as this Darkseer, so Cake's not able to do anything. Justin and Jiggle need to follow through. Managed to take down Mike and get that double kill, and the only one that lives for SNA of importance will be that Faceless Void. He got out early due to a lot of damage being output by Justin, and I would say eHug, although they trade even at 3 for 3, win that engagement surely because they didn't lose a carry element. Darkseer is so very tanky, taking a ton of time and effort just to bring down.
Tough game for SNA. 14-2 is the kills on Justin on the Ember, 9-3 on Visage, and Slardar sitting at 4-1. They've had such a good game so far. It's going to take a lot for this Faceless Void to get online and be able to deal with that, and I don't know if he can. We talked about last game eHug turtling up, but they had the heroes to do that. You had the Naga and you had the Darkseer, and they could manage to do that. This game, I don't think SNA can afford that. Sure, you have the Faceless Void, which is scary to go into a chrono against, but other than that, I feel like eHug isn't really contested too much if they do decide to push down a lane. But I just imagine it's going to be these pickoffs that eHug is just going to keep on doing, finding heroes when they can, pickoffs and crucial heroes like Justin gets chronoed. Is there going to be enough damage? AA ult does come on out, and it's going to be enough there even without the AA ult. But now he's in some trouble. Jigglebelly gets in there, stomps him to the ground, and he is out of this fight as well. A 1-for-1 trade, but definitely not the trades that you want to be making if you're SNA. It's great to take down that Ember. Actually, he got a lot of money for that. So maybe
yeah.
it wasn't that bad of a trade.
Yeah, it was 1.1K.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was just going to comment on. So good catch by you to even see that, because that's a ton. The differential was a spread of like 800 gold. It was like 300 for 800. Yeah, you go down for a bit, but at least he got that experience, and he needs anything to catch up. Cakes pulling back Storm Spirit top lane right now, seeing if he can get a pick, but no such luck, as Storm Spirit will end up just kind of walking away. SNA not coming up with many answers right now. They're trying to expend anything they can anytime they find a single hero out for eHug, and it seems like regardless of how far away any of the eHug players are, they're always there to support one another, and it's just been an amazing dynamic watching this game unfold. There is a reason why they're up 29-15, and it's not just sheer luck in these team fights. They have been there to support one another this entire time. Mike, scouting out for his squad, has done a phenomenal job, I must say, but still not able to string a win yet together for SNA, or a path towards victory that we've been able to see just yet. But he scans out Pandago. Daedalus, by the way, on the horizon here for this Ember Spirit. They managed to catch Mike out. Good sentry right here. Ends up walking right back onto it. Unfortunately, despite scouting him out, they had an idea what was happening, and man, did they ever catch him out. But instead of a Daedalus, he's actually going to go into Battle Fury. So super late Battle Fury, still crazy relevant in terms of the cleave that Ember's able to put out with all of those additional strikes, as well as this Desolator. Most powerful hero on the map by far. It doesn't even matter what Slardar gets at this stage, because he's just going to go out of control. Do you see a path to victory? I think they're playing it correctly. Like, desperately take whatever picks you can get, but to eHug's credit, they haven't let it happen.
Yeah, they've gotten decent map control down, and like you mentioned earlier, whenever there's anybody that's about to die from SNA, eHug is on top of that. They have allies nearby, and that's problematic for IX Mike especially, because he can't really sneak up on anybody and pick anybody off, because there's always somebody there to guard against that. So it's going to be a really difficult team fight. We do have the Chrono here on the Faceless Void, still lacking some damage, but it is level 16, or rather he is level 16, so it's a level 3 Chrono. SNA has the Orchid on top of that, potentially going for this BKB next, but again, I think Ember is doing so much physical damage and there's so much minus armor that you're still going to be able to deal a lot of damage through these BKBs. On top of that, we could even see Slardar pick up an AC after this, and that's going to be even more minus armor. It's going to be plus armor for eHug's team, which is going to be great against Faceless Void.
Look at how loaded the support staff is here, even for eHug. You have a Darkseer sitting on 9.2k. Visage is 10k due to that triple kill set he had out of middle. Jakiro is even more wealthy than IX Mike, who is the off lane, and unfortunately for them, they might not have an answer. If it comes down to initiation on initiation, you have Slaughter and Darkseer blinking forward, so as you said, if they can lock down maybe with an Orchid and a good ult from both Storm and Void against an Ember, yeah, it might be feasible to take a team fight, but we're only 30 minutes into this game and the net worth is just raging out of control, and you still have a Visage to worry about, who, of note, has an Axe and he almost has a heart, Proof.
Yeah. When does Visage actually get that many items? I mean, sure, some games you see a Visage just kind of spiral out of control, but time to watch out for Alex Mike and Cakes. Alex Mike looking to get a kill off on somebody again, but I don't think he can get a kill easily on Darkseer, even one-on-one, and that's a tough kill for him, but he still goes in. He has his allies nearby. A ult does go out, and they take out Cakes. They expend quite a bit on him, but it's enough. Jigglebilly goes in. The reinforcements have arrived. Justin is there on top of that. USH, rather, pops the BKB and his ultimate, pounds down Jigglebilly. He goes down. Justin gets into the middle of the fray, throws out the chance. They should be able to pick him off, but Pandago is here to help in some trouble, though, as SNA is hot on his heels. The silence goes out. Another auto attacker, too, will do it, but they can't actually secure as SNA gets locked down from the familiars. AA is here, but he's in some trouble, but IX Mike comes in, stuns out the Jakiro, and goes down.
It doesn't even matter. That ice path to save Justin again. He's the reason he's been living in all of these fights.
That's true.
You go 3 for 3, but Jesus, this guy. What a player. Justin still able to stay out. Did you see the damage he put out at the beginning of that fight? My God.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
going to be able to finish up Battle Fury, but one slide of fist over, through that Void ultimate nearly took him out of that entire fight. Not able to rewind any of that damage. Just amazing. amounts of damage coming out, and it's due to early farm. It's no surprise. Can't say it is when you have the graphs reading this steep of an advantage for eHug. Sitting down, it curbing towards 12K. It should spike again in their favor in terms of experience earned, 12K in terms of money as well. Both of those graphs tend to match when everything's going correctly, and I mean, hats off to the balance in this game sometimes and the way these graphs read. It's intriguing how you can almost read a game off of the statistics alone and the result of fights. Obviously, movement in the human element plays a steep portion in, but SNA trying to do what they can. Mike getting catch out after catch out. I mean, he's just looking for windows or any sort of pick, but no such luck has come for SNA, and they are almost entirely out of this game. Roshan going to be a very decisive one here, coming down 32 minutes in. That obs ward that just got planted as daytime begins shouldn't catch out exactly what's going on, but I imagine they have to have a hunch as all of them are over the hill here, waiting on top. Smoke up on 3. We'll see if they move towards the Roche pit, but it's not going to be in time. Amp damage, just getting things taken care of, as well as that Desolator right on top of Roshan, not able even at 30 minutes to live more than maybe even, what was that, 45 seconds? Jeez.
Shit, maybe even less than that. The amp damage is so freaking strong against Roshan. He drops so quickly, and on top of that Ember too, with how much damage he has, there was just no chance for SNA to get in there. IX Mike was on the top lane. You really need that stun to be able to land on a few heroes, and without that, there is no way they could contest that. And they've got to pick their battles a little better, but now IX Mike is in some trouble. Jigglebilly jumps in with a stun and amp damage. There's going to be no windwalk out of here for him, but he does pop the Carapace, bides this time a little bit, but in the long run, he does go down regardless of that. Just some easy pickoffs for eHug, and they have that Aegis now, so they're definitely ready to make some things happen. They might try and trade this tier 1 middle, but it's not going to happen. They have to back up. They really can't be aggressive at this point ever.
Justin gonna get caught out by 3 right now. USH right on top of him, attempts to Flame Remnant away and doesn't get anywhere, so Aegis expend already 4 on top of him. Can eHug respond in time? Jiggle trying to make something happen, but Void says no dice, gets on top of him, kill him again instantly. Jiggle in trouble, already halved on his HP. Seeing what they can do as Cakes gets in here, and SNA makes a run for the hills. They back off right on top. Port thwarted by a vacuum from Cakes. Cakes grabs both Fluff and GSX. It looks like GSX gets away at the cost of Fluff. Can they take him down? And no is the answer, as a port will go through for Ancient Apparition, saving him. And Void, the last one on the list, able to walk away, but not the Storm Spirit, unfortunately. They try to make something happen, and they do get an Aegis and Justin out of it, but what is it all worth anymore? This is just a purely frustrating game for SNA, but it goes back to me, at least on their draft. At what point did they say that they were going to win lanes? And sometimes you have to look at lanes, not just composition overall, and understand that you might not win some of these lanes very early on against heroes that are intensely focused on EXP. When you have EXP focuses on heroes such as Slardar, a Darkseer, and an Ember Spirit, you have to consider your potential to win lanes, and when you don't, things like this happen. SNA, a very experienced team with Mike at the helm drafting it, maybe felt like they could have done better and overreached their draft. Void is an excessively late game hero, and Storm is about mid to late. But if neither of them get a good start, which arguably they didn't have one, nothing happens in the late game. So what we're seeing right now as viewers and onlooking onto 35 minutes is the fact that it doesn't matter the game Void had early on, as he gets right on top of this Ember, yet again able to take down Justin. He's going out of control. What matters is the late. So if they can continue pickoffs like this, Godspeed, as they vacuum and cancel a port. SNA in a little bit of trouble right now. Void getting wiped out by Jigglebilly. Jesus, he doesn't have anything. He just ate right through him.
He did.
How's that even happen? They just bashed him twice. Is that all it takes? Like, Void is that squishy even with the BKB?
I think so, yeah. The amp damage.
He's got to rewind, though, Prove. In 21... sorry, not 21.
Must not have gotten lucky, I guess.
Yeah, I guess not enough HP. Super unfortunate for them, but... I mean, don't you think that's the right line of thought? Is like, what lane did he honestly think they were going to win? The only one I think they had an arguable chance at winning was Storm Spirit versus Ember. If they shut him down, their game still doesn't go that well, because Nyx Assassin kind of has to slow Slardar down. Otherwise, he's just going to be on top of him. And the guy got a 7-minute Blink Dagger.
He
Mission
did.
accomplished, team.
And treads. He had Blink Dagger and treads all finished up. And so at like, 10, 11 minutes, he was ready to roam. And so it shut down the Faceless Void. It shut down SNA even more on top of that. And we can still see SNA trying to play catch up for this game. He's behind even the supports on eHug's side. So he's had a really rough game. But with that being said, I feel like the Faceless Void has done a decent enough job getting back to the game. Granted, the Midas is helping out quite a bit in that regard, but he's got some damage on him. He has attack speed, and he can bash quite a bit as well on top of that. So if he catches anybody out, they are probably going to die. So what we need eHug to do now is group up and force these team fights.
What if he catches Visage out? Privage?
I don't know. Visage is pretty tanky.
The guy's a monster. He's got such magic.
One-on-one. Let's see it. Void versus
AC,
Visage.
Finished up, speaking in terms of items, AC finished up on Slaughter, as you mentioned earlier. He should have gone for that and does, so he finally has an extra item to his name. Visage, as a result of all of his farm, is able to carry a gem, and he's got 3,100. Maybe he should consider investing into Shiva's sheep sticks, something to shut down just any of these heroes, and he'll be infinitely more useful, as if he already wasn't. Microing 3 familiars to a T. Jakiro also providing his team every advantage under the sun, has every support item he could potentially want, except maybe, like, do they get a pipe? There's not enough AoE to really substantiate it, I guess, unless you consider AA, Jiggle, initiating right on top of Void. Void not going to be able to do anything at all. Cakes sucks him in with the vacuum, and now Storm next on the list, stunned up, tries to get away and barely manages to do so. Ult from Void after buyback right on top of Sheep, and there it is. He can't even take down Visage, bro. He goes down in a man fight against I'm a Sheep, and the onslaught continues. SNA tearing through at the cost of only Cakes as one person, and now forcing them to retreat into the catacombs of their bases. eHug should have every right to take this. Void is on cooldown and completely wiped out twice there. No buyback at the ready for another 5.5 minutes. Fortification X spent, and they should be able to take 2 racks in 70 seconds, no doubt in my mind.
I like how Visage was the target of choice. Not Ember, not Jigglebilly, it's Visage. He's like, I have to take Sheep down. He's doing so good this game, and still couldn't do it, unfortunately. But now SNA back in the fight. He's completely outnumbered, though, as Justin almost goes down. He does go down, just barely to SNA, but now his teammates are going to die due to that. 4 down for SNA. And I don't see a way out of this. Bottom Rex goes down, and they still have plenty of time till Void comes back to do some damage to this mid tower, get the racks as well, and then they back up. They bide their time. They wait for this Roshan to respawn, which is going to happen here pretty soon. And they still looking pretty. I mean, 42-22. How do you come back from that when you're SNA? On top of that, look at the gold graphs. Look at the XP graphs. There's not a way out. You can't turtle this out.
There's no Naga to shut things down and stop fights this time. And SNA, just really, they didn't have a good draft, and they weren't able to play it well. Jiggle right on top of Mike. Mike going to go down again. GG should be called shortly here. There's no doubt about it. eHug go a perfect 11-0. 7 weeks into this tournament, just phenomenal play out of them this evening. They were able to stave off SNA's early, what was it, like 16? It was an under 20-minute racks in game 1 that I wasn't even able to cast, but man, watching that was a pleasure. USH right now on top of Jiggle. Can he take him down in time? AA ult would have secured it, but now it's instead going to secure Jakiro, who's thrown up in the air, but look at how tanky this guy is. Not able to do anything. The AA ult won't expire. Jakiro goes down. Familiars try to buy him some time, but unfortunately, not quite there for them. 2 racks down, SNA against the wall, but they elect to play it through, which is completely respectable, being that they have such a monstrous presence out of someone like Faceless Void at all times. Just didn't pick the greatest target in the last team fight, but to his credit, he picked off Ember 2 times prior to that. And if any comeback were to be made, it had to be through a window like that. Unfortunately, it was just too late. The door has been slammed shut by eHug almost this entire game. Look at the graph. The graph is enough proof. SNA had a decent start, but their rotations were not as solid as eHug. And sometimes it comes down to simple things like that, spiraling out of control, especially when you have such, a hero set that snowballs the way that eHug has.
Yeah, all they needed to do was have a good early game, and they did just that on 3 heroes too. Slaughter, Ember, and even Visage all had such great starts. And now IX Mike on this top lane, hoping to pick somebody off. He goes for Sheep, but that's the tankiest hero on eHug. And I think that's kind of an issue this game too for SNA, is that they couldn't pick anybody off with IX Mike sneaking around, just because the supports got so many decent items early on in the game that it tanked them up enough that they couldn't get killed by just IX Mike alone. So all IX Mike was this game was basically just an initiation and hoping to land, you know, a 2 or 3 person stun with that impel.
Are you a fan of the Nyx offlane? I'm a fan of him just being a hard support. I think they could have maintained better value out of even someone like a Windrunner, dare I say. Like, you get a good shackle on Ember, what does he do? He just sits there. I think it's hard to get something against someone like Justin, but still, just maybe anyone could have provided more utility. I know Mirana was banned out. Otherwise, I was going to say, well, maybe Mirana gives you some out, you know, some out that maybe we're just not seeing here. I don't like Nyx in the offlane because even if he gets the experience you were talking about, he can be an impact player, but how do you gauge that impact? And to me, it wasn't quite there. Fight starting. Justin focused out. USH might have it right now. AA ult shores things up. Justin down. Jiggle right on top. No buyback from Ember just yet. Cakes is also snuffed out. No ultimate from Darkseer, but still, they should manage to take it down. Void goes down. Next on the list is Storm Spirit against Jiggle. Sheep, even staying alive against him, finally goes down, drops the gem. They're able to take him out. Stun applied from SNA. Look at Jakiro. He doesn't want to let Storm Spirit get away, but he will, unfortunately, at the cost. 5-man wipe. eHug goes down, not able to secure the final element to the high ground in exchange for 3, narrowly 4. Might pick up the 4th here. Look at these familiars. Jesus Christ. So much damage chasing him to the well and still almost about to get it. They pop a smoke to keep AA alive, and instead of getting 4, they managed to at least get a tier 4 tower, but not able to finish and put the nail in the coffin just yet, Proof.
That's the problem with Ember, is that he does fall off at some point because he is not really that tanky of a hero. So if you can single him out, he can take quite a bit of damage very quickly. And that's kind of the problem that we're having here, is that Ember, while he does damage, he cannot take a whole lot of damage. And well, that was a good fight for SNA. I don't think it was quite enough to get them back to this game, just because they can't push out this bottom lane and top lane. You know, when these team fights are happening, you can't send Naga illusions with Radiance to push the lane and defend your base. The creeps just keep on pushing. So if eHug just stalls out a fight on the top lane, these creeps are going to push on through. Even Faceless Void can't even deal with it. No Battle Fury, just barely picks up the lifesteal.
Are we really speculating the tier 4 is going down right now?
Yep.
I'm pretty sure they're just gonna win. Just spoilers. Hold on, sorry guys. No,
Ever.
No, I don't mean. I don't even mean it in a rude way. SNA, honestly, like, Mike played a freaking good game at the beginning. I just don't think the hero composition was there for them. That's not to say they played poorly. Look at these AA ults. Have you seen one miss?
Every single.
Look at that. It just hit
and
again.
Every time they go to Roshan too, AA ult hits like immediately at Roshan. So they
know
do
what
always
they're doing.
know.
It's seriously, it just boiled down to the team fights. Void needs to get over here, otherwise Roshan's going to go down immediately. Hasteruna on the top side, all 5 for SNA in the vicinity. If they take this, this is really, really bad news for eHug. Justin, high ground right now, Sleight of Fist on Roche to attribute some damage. Needs to stay out of the fight. Ult pop, not ult pop, BKB pop from Jiggle. Scouting things out and trying to keep Void off. They need to keep Vision up, and they won't. Unfortunately, here's the Aegis forthcoming, and right now, jumping in, Storm, Cheese, sniped, it looks like. I don't know who grabbed that. AA ult on 2, doesn't matter, they're exploding left and right. Void immediately blitzed away, Fluff next on the list, and this is just gotta be GG. Looking at the buybacks, Void doesn't have it, 490 gold out, and still not calling the GG, so still respectable out of SNA. They played a great game for what they had. I just think the Midas was a little bit of an early mistake. Storm didn't have the game they wanted him to. And Ember going 3-0 obviously doesn't help. And even in the face of Fluff's best effort, there was nothing they could do. So there's the GG, finally called out. eHug completing the comeback. Ever since game 1, they were pressed under a 20-minute barracks and still managed to snake that one out, handily take game 2, and thus ends the first part of week 7 for us.
Yeah, I don't think we could have asked for a better start of the week. eHug versus SNA, 2 American powerhouses, at least in CEVO, and they put on a great show. It's too bad we couldn't get to see a game 3, because I feel like SNA really held their own against eHug this game, but unfortunately the aggression was just way too strong for eHug. But you guys, thanks for joining us today. It was a great night. Big shout out to Rarsum, and thanks Ever. I'm glad you finally got here and could cast with me. You guys,
I
if
was
you
here like a minute late.
I know, I'm sorry. Anyways, I was just gonna say, you know, guys, please follow the channel, and if you appreciate what we're doing as casters, and as well as what CEVO is doing, then please follow and even subscribe if you have some change to spare. We would appreciate it a lot. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, you can find me at ProveDota. My buddy here, Ever, you can find him at EverX on Twitter. And that's all for tonight, but we will be back on Wednesday, so make sure you join Ever and myself. We will actually be on PlayCEVO 2, so twitch.tv/PlayCEVO 2. We will see you guys then. It's been great. Seems like we had a really active chat tonight. Sorry I couldn't participate in that, but thanks for joining us and keeping everything going and flowing in the chat. And Ever, I'll let you take us on out. Oh, and at CEVO for Twitter too. Sorry, I always forget to plug that.
CEVO. That's all I was going to say. We have some new graphics coming your way. We just got the upgraded subscriber status, so please subscribe. Every penny goes to help funding, you know, this tournament and the people who work behind it. So definitely look out for us, just as we look out for the community. eHug, great team. I hope to see nothing but improvement. The finals are going to be exciting. That is coming up here in a short, I want to say 3 weeks, guys. So keep a lookout for that. Some emoticons should be coming your way. I think those are in the works from what we talked about in the meeting, but I don't quite remember. But thanks for having me along, at least for game 2. I was hoping for a game 3 because they're such exciting teams, but I'm sure this is just paving the way for a breathtaking finals. Finally, North American Dota getting some attention in which it deserves, and by no means are these teams the best in the world just yet, but you have to admit SNA putting on a phenomenal show, coming in with a new player like Fluff, fitting right into the lineup. He doesn't have that great of a game here, but still the impact that these players have on the community is just paramount. So definitely hats off to them. Subscribe, follow. We'll see you guys next Wednesday, actually in 2 days from now at, I want to say 6 Pacific time, 9 Eastern, for those of you guys tuning in. We'll be over on PlayCEVO 2, and on PlayCEVO 1, I want to say is Helium, but I'm not positive. Here nor there, a lot of good casters on the team. Is it Toffees? Okay, yeah. All right, so end Toffees, and we'll see you guys then.